you need to be rich to travel? No. Can you travel and still have tons of fun for as little as about $1,000 a month? Yes. What if I told you there were tons of ways to get beautiful, free places to stay, lots of fun, free activities, and so many ways to get cheap flights to where you want to go? I love free things. So I'm going to share a ton of ways that you can travel for free or cheap. Grab yourself a pen and paper because you are about to learn all the ways that you can be a frugal traveler while still really enjoying your travel experience. First up, free accommodations. Here are 3 options to get you staying for free in beautiful accommodations. My fave is number 3. Number 1, house or van swap. There are tons of great sites online where you can find people all across the world who want to swap their homes or vans with you. Here are some pros and cons on house and van swaps. Pros. Free accommodations. There are so many beautiful and unique homes that you can swap with. Many houses are right in the heart of great communities. You get the comforts of a home and you even get to use their vehicles sometimes. And of course, if you swap your van, you get to have your home and your car in one. Cons. Of course, you need a house or you need a van to be able to swap, which is just not the case for everybody. It is a little bit risky to trade with other people because you don't know if any damage might be done to your property. Hopefully not. I mean, it's obviously mutual. You guys want to respect their property too, but it's a possibility. There is a lot of pre-planning and generally it's going to take a bit of additional time to make that swap happen. There are lots of websites that help reduce this risk, so we're gonna put some links in the description below. Option number 2 is woofing. This is a volunteer exchange program that allows you to live with people and help them with some projects that they're working on. Some of the things that you might find yourself doing is working in a bed and breakfast, maybe tutoring or nannying in some way. Maybe you'll be helping on farming or even building an off-grid home. There's so many options. Here are the pros and cons of woofing. Pros. Of course, free accommodation. There are some really unique and interesting places and setups to be able to go and participate in. You do get to stay with the home, usually with the homeowners and family that are there, which actually helps you kind of create connection and community with people. You often do have the chance to have your meals provided for you as well, so you get that additional cost savings, and you get to be able to build some really cool skills. Personally, I've always really wanted to do some of the ones where you get to learn how to build like an earthworm home. I've seen people who are reconstructing old castles or even just gardening at a castle. There's so many cool ones out there. Cons. This could turn out great or it could turn out a little awkward or even potentially completely unfun. You don't really know until you get there and really get to know them. Again, there's going to be ways to probably do some video chats ahead of time and get to know if your personalities can match, but again, it's still a bit of a risk. You are gonna have to do some work while you're there, so you might be working up to 20 hours a week. You might need to commit for 2 weeks or longer, which is fine, really, if you're okay with that, but it's never just like a 1 or 2 night or even a week-long thing. Usually, it's at least 2 weeks and potentially months at a time. Number 3, and my favorite, is pet sitting, where you get to stay in beautiful, amazing, or unique homes while also taking care of their adorable pets. Pros. Free accommodation. You can stay in big and beautiful or small, cute and quaint homes that are in the heart of communities. You get to stay often in like big expensive cities for free. So places like London or Edinburgh. We were able to stay in Edinburgh for free for 3.5 weeks, and that is really incredible, the ability to see Edinburgh in that much detail. You get to meet people at the park, so you get to see more locals and people like that because you're bringing your dogs to the park a lot, so the ability to kind of just chat with people is quite nice. You get to stay in these places anywhere from perhaps a couple of days up to even a few months at a time. So there's quite a bit of flexibility within that. There is some car sharing there. Doesn't happen all, I think, as frequently. You don't have to have a house to swap, so that's really nice. And of course, you get to spend some time with some adorable animals. If you have kids and travel full-time like we did, it ended up being an even better experience because there is some loneliness that comes along with traveling full-time as a family, and our kids, I think having the dogs there with us, it just ended up feeling like they just became part of our family. It was a comfort. It was just, there's something really nice about it. If you're traveling as a family, I really do recommend giving it a try. Cons, you do need to take care of the pets. However, like having dogs actually got us into a really nice routine. So as travelers, you kind of can sometimes get into a bit of a lazy routine and just get up and do stuff whenever. But when you have dogs to take care of, you have to get up, take them, like feed them, take them out for walks and all that kind of stuff. It actually helped us get a really nice start to our day. And we still got to explore for anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, depending on who we were taking care of. You can still explore for up to like 4 to 6 hours at a time. And I'll link here because you can see all the things that we got to do while we were in Edinburgh. There was tons of stuff, just going out for little walks here and there. And sometimes we were even able to bring the dogs with us. You can also choose not to take care of dogs that are a bit more high maintenance generally. You can go with more low maintenance animals like cats or rodents or I don't know, reptiles, things like that. So chickens even. There's all kinds of different types of animals that you can take care of, and they really don't take nearly as much time. We really enjoy taking care of the dogs and everything, and you probably would too, but there's plenty of other options out there. We had a chance to travel across the UK for an entire summer, so the busiest time in the UK. We got there at the end of June and we left in the middle-ish of September, and we spent that entire time. The only amount of money we spent on accommodations was about $600 to $700. That is it for the entire summer because we just did a bunch of pet sitting and loved it every step of the way. It's time to move on to cheap activities. I have broken these down into 3 categories. The first one being outdoor activities. Number 1, of course, we gotta mention hiking. It's been said many times, but we can't leave it out. It is such a beautiful way to get out and explore the area that you're in. We have so many wonderful memories of trekking on the Queen Charlotte track in New Zealand or around Lake Louise in Canada. I mean, so many different areas and places to hike and see just the natural wonder that is around you. Number 2, of course, is walking or even just walking tours. As opposed to hiking in the wilderness, you can take in all of the wonderful historic and amazing architecture that's within the town or city that you are staying in. There are so many great hosted or self-guided walking tours in so many of the cities and towns that you'll find yourself in. If self-guided, like street art tours or just simple like city tours, then you can go at your own pace. If you're doing a guided tour, then you want to keep in mind that you should probably bring a little bit of money for some tips at the end. Oh, of course we have beaches, gardens, and parks. There are so many wonderful spaces that are open for the public to be able to visit. We've been to some amazing beaches in Spain, Mexico, France, UK, Canada, like basically almost everywhere we've gone, there has been some absolutely wonderful beaches to explore. All of them unique. There are wonderful like botanical gardens that you go to. Some of them you might have to pay for, but there are many that are free as well. Like in Edinburgh, they have a wonderful free botanical garden. I mean, there are definitely ways for you to donate money to the park if you have that within your budget. Make that walk through the beautiful botanical gardens even better by bringing yourself a picnic. And if you're a family and you want to have a bit more fun with your kids, they love playgrounds. All right, we got free festivals and events as well. Depending on the time of year that you're in an area, there's always just different festivals and events that are going on. Some really incredible things to take part in. Some of them certainly have maybe an entry fee, but not all of them do, and you can look for all the free ones in your area. Pack a picnic, bring some snacks and some water, so it just reduces your desire to buy all of the wonderful snacks and things that you're gonna find at these festivals. But I mean, you know what? If you want to set aside a few dollars here and there for enjoying some of the local fare at these festivals, then go ahead. But at least a lot of them tend to be free, and that's a really great way to save money and have so much fun. Finally, for our outdoor activities, we have write, draw, and paint. How to say this word? Parc de la Ciutadella.
Parc de la Ciutadella.
Okay. How to say it, I don't know. Sit in Parc de la Ciutadella in Barcelona, Spain, and draw the magnificent fountain that they have there. It's beautiful. Lounge along the Seine in Paris. Write that book that you've always been wanting to write. Paint the tulip fields in the Netherlands. There's so many beautiful places to just go out, draw, write, or paint. Indoor free spaces. Many countries in the world have some incredible libraries to check out. You may not be able to borrow a book, but you can pop in for some of the activities. You can use their internet. You can use their quiet space just to kind of get away and read for a little bit. And it's a great place to meet up with local families or even expat families if you just want to find somebody that your kids can hang out with for a little while. Many libraries are also amazing historic buildings, so you might just want to go in and take in how beautiful and grand and historic they look. Number 2 is museums and art galleries. You'd be surprised how many museums and art galleries are actually free to go into. There was one in Edinburgh that we went into that was amazing. Like, it was incredible. We spent an entire day there with the boys and they loved it. So many things for them to interact with and learn about and all that kind of stuff. And it was completely free. Now you again get to donate in these places if you have the money for it. Number 3 is just local markets. You can take a stroll through some really wonderful local markets that are almost like a microcosm of great like the food and drinks and crafts that you might see in that area. But be careful because those bakery stalls can be incredibly tempting. But you know what? Spending $5 here and there at a local market isn't gonna break the bank. All right, number 3, our final section for cheap activities. Money saving ideas. So attraction passes. Many cities and countries have a lot of great attraction passes. I know in Canada, like in Toronto specifically, has one that's kind of where you get to go explore a bunch of different, like Casa Loma and CN Tower and all these kind of things all within the city. And so you get a discount because you're buying it as a group. Still gonna cost money, but at least it's a discount. We did purchase the Historic Scotland membership to be able to go through a few of the historic sites within Scotland. Now, certainly we didn't get all of them because there was just like dozens and dozens and dozens of castles and historic sites that we could have gone to see using the membership, but we just didn't have the time. The cost was about £35 per person, £70 for a family. England has a similar program for their historic sites, and after a year, if you purchase the Scotland one or the England pass, then after a year, you actually get to combine them. Number 2, snacks versus meals. When you decide to go out for a day, try to pack yourself a picnic and your meal and take it with you. It's so hard for me to not want to eat out at restaurants. It's like my kryptonite. But if you can pack a picnic and you bring food with you, then you can save money by just going into a cafe or maybe just go and grab, you know, a pint at a pub or something like that. So you at least get to have some of the experience. If you really want to go out for a meal, my partner and I, we often do one full entree and an appetizer, and we will actually split those things. And it saves us money. And we will often not buy drinks at the same time. We will only get water. A lot of places in the world offer just tap water. That includes Spain, that includes, you know, the UK. I know Canada is definitely like that. You can ask for just tap water instead of having to pay for bottled water. It's time to dive into frugal hacks for transportation. Number 1 is flights. I do know a few tricks. One of the things that we do is we do have a travel visa. It's not the best one. We are Canadian and we don't always have the best point systems. That's okay. We still have saved thousands of dollars just by using our just general travel visa that we have with our local bank. If you want a good place to learn about that, go to Daily Drop YouTube channel. It's Kara and Nate's new channel, and they talk a lot about how they save money with travel points on credit cards. You can often find flight deals on places like Scott's Cheap Flights or FareDrop, all that help keep an eye on cheap flights for you. One of the major tips that I have is to be very flexible for like the day and time in which you are okay to fly. We do a lot of our flights during off seasons, let's say October, November, late January into April. And we always try to be flexible with when we fly in and out of places. We also try to do a lot of flying into major hubs. So we flew into London before going down into Spain because from Canada at least, so it all depends on where you're flying from and to and all the things. But from Canada is so much cheaper for us to fly to London than it is directly into like Barcelona. And we can go to London for $350 per person as opposed to Spain, which might be anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 per person. And then when we're in London, we just do a hopover flight because they have cheap flights within the UK and Europe. Pain in the butt sometimes, absolutely. But if you're wanting to do more travel, stretch your dollars, and sometimes you gotta do the pain in the butt way. Another quick tip for your flights is with your luggage. If you can manage with carry-on and personal size, it's so much better. If you check your luggage, then it takes longer. You have your lineups to check your luggage. It takes longer after the flight because you have to wait for your luggage. It costs usually a lot more money, and flights often lose it. So to me, it's a pain in the butt. I don't want to deal with it, so we don't. And we don't want to lug it around everywhere with us anyways. Let's move into local transportation. There is some chances to be able to borrow cars if you are pet sitting or house swapping. When we did pet sitting for somebody, they allowed us to go on as an add-on to their insurance. We did have to pay for it. So for 10 days, we only paid a little over $100. And that's really cheap in comparison to renting a car for 10 days. You can also ask to be able to borrow bikes if you're house swapping or pet sitting, because they might have those, and then just use them to get around town as well. There's also public transportation, super cheap. You can get day passes, overnight passes, family passes. There are all kinds of passes, so check into those and see what works best for you. One of the things that we did also was take an overnight bus from one pet sit to another. This is not the greatest sleep in the world, but you get your ride and you get your night's sleep-ish all in one go. So it wasn't so bad. And by the time we got there, we were totally fine. We just chilled for the day, and we could, you know, it's one night, you can make it through. That was a lot of frugal hacks for you. There's so many more we could go over, but I really wanted to touch on some of the bigger, most important ones for you. And I really hope that you learned something here. Please tell me in the comments below if I missed any of your favorite frugal travel hacking. I would love to learn about it for myself, and I'm sure many other people would too. Do you want to learn how to make $1,000 a month or more with some remote work? Well, I have a video of that for you as well, and you can check that out here. Thank you so much for joining us every further mile.